Good morning.
Good morning.
My daughter's here today.
Oh.
Right? This is Kira, right?
Yep. Hey.
We are making sauerkraut at her request. She loves it, and it's so good, and it's so much better for you than anything you can buy in the store, unless you have a source for fermented sauerkraut. But can you grab the scale out of the... Oh, maybe you can't reach it. It's on the second shelf. So we're going to core this cabbage, and I'm going to show you, I was refreshing on how to make sauerkraut to make sure I had all the amounts right.
I can't reach it.
And, hang on. And she was coring the cabbage with a knife. Well, that's really hard. Let me show you what I learned. Okay, well, it's not working. I guess it does now. Well, the way it's supposed to work, I just have a really solid head of cabbage. So you bang it right on the core, and it kind of jams it into the head and breaks it apart. But obviously it didn't work. So try that first, because it's amazing when it works. So we're cutting at a diagonal in. You know how a cabbage core is shaped this way, right? So that's how we're cutting in. And, you know, you don't have to get it right the first time or perfect the first time. And you don't want to use, if you're using these really thin blades like I recommend, you don't want to use it to try to get the core out. Normally, I don't even take the core out until I cut it in half, but I thought, oh, I'm going to show them this trick, and then it didn't work. So the benefits of fermented cabbage are healing your gut, probiotics. Almost every American, I don't want to speak for other countries, I'm sure, like third world countries or countries where they eat a lot of carbohydrates and not a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, they're going to have gut issues. I think, you know, America, because of how glutenized, how much bread and pasta, fast food we eat, chemicals, medications, those are all kill the bacteria in our guts. So this is a really solid head of cabbage. So the reason I was coring it was because I was going to run water down into it to rinse the leaves. Well, it's not going to happen. It's so tightly packed. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to cut it in half. And be careful doing this. Actually, I'm going to weigh this because my batteries fell out of my scale. So we're going to weigh this because the weight of this, actually, before you core it,
She's a little nervous.
I'm not nervous. Okay, so it's a little over 2 pounds. So, no, I love doing this for all of you. So all we're doing is cutting it in strips. You can say, oh, that is so easy. It is. And then you have to massage it for 5 minutes. Or do the trick that I know. Because I don't have the patience nor the tenacity anymore. The strength. And I like my sauerkraut a little on the chunky side, so I cut in bigger pieces. This is just under a 1/2 inch. And I think most of the core is gone. Got most of the core out. This is my sauerkraut making bowl. So it's 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1½ to 2 teaspoons of salt per pound of cabbage. This is a little over 2 pounds. So
1 teaspoon.
I'm going to do a tablespoon of salt. Obviously, you don't want it too salty. If you like salt on your food or a lot of salt, then use the higher amount. I don't let it bother me. Whatever I put sauerkraut on, I just make sure I don't salt. So I actually have eggs in the morning that I put a healthy dose of sauerkraut on. And I rarely salt my eggs because I'm always putting something in them or on them, cheddar cheese, whatever, that provides that salt. Do you have any questions, Kara?
No.
Okay. So the other thing I do, I add garlic. Kara doesn't think she likes garlic, and I don't think she knew that I did that. But it's...
I like garlic, not big chunks of garlic.
Okay. Well, this goes in whole. So... And I've never eaten the garlic that's... Well, maybe I have, because I don't remember seeing anything. You know, it sits out on your counter for 21 days. So these garlic cloves have sprouted. And I haven't researched to see if that's a problem. I do remember at one point reading just to peel it out. And that's what we're going to do.
And what does sprouted mean?
It's green.
Oh, it's green.
See, it means, because this is alive, so you see, it just sprouts from the center. Whoops. And we're just gonna pull it out.
To be watching where I eat so I don't get a big chunk of garlic.
I think it may dissolve completely. Did you hear her whispering? She said now she's going to be really careful because she comes over and eats just bowls of sauerkraut. And like I said, she had no idea there was garlic in there. So
Parents,
I think it may just dissolve, but I don't know.
If it dissolves, that would be nice.
Well, I've been making it for years.
I'll let you know if I ever see a piece.
Ever remember seeing garlic after the fact. So, okay. So we are going to add our salt now. I think that's over there, huh?
Pink Himalayan?
Yes. And I use pink Himalayan.
It's the best.
And when I say a tablespoon. Vegetable pancakes are one of her favorites, and
Just had them today.
I made them for her today.
Had 3 servings.
Yeah, I made a double batch. Anyway, So the point of me telling you that was that's why my measuring spoon was wet.
So it doesn't matter if you just pour the salt directly on, or do you want to try to space out the salt?
Well, we're going to massage it.
Oh.
Okay, now this is the not hard part, but you may need to enlist, if you have a family, you may need to enlist family members. So, yeah.
Enlist family.
She's washed her hands, so she's ready. We're breaking apart the bigger pieces, and you just squeeze. This is what helps bring out the liquid that is needed for the fermentation.
You should make shrimp cheese.
Is this how you do it?
I don't know. I feel like it is.
I've never made kimchi. I don't, yeah. It's with cabbage, right?
Yeah. I love cabbage.
Yeah. I may,
Cabbage.
I may explore the world of kimchi, guys, so we'll see. You know I'm all about health, so whatever I can do to up-level, slow my aging process.
So how long do you do that for?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah. Now,
Right.
so here's the shortcut. You can cover it with a towel and leave it sit for an hour and let the salt do the work.
Oh.
But if you don't have the time, or you like the exercise of this, because it is really good for your upper arms. And I'm feeling chunks too, so I'm pulling those apart as I massage. But yeah.
So what happens if you don't pull away the chunks? What if someone's super lazy and they're just like, meow?
That's a good question. I'm not positive, but that's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't think it would rot in the jar because it's the combination of the salt and, well, the liquid. So if that liquid can't get to the center of those chunks, what happens? If anybody knows that and wants to comment, please do that. Please let me know. But I don't think that it will hurt anything, because if you are massaging this for 5 minutes, you probably don't even need to focus on breaking up the chunks. They're just automatically going to break up. Piece of garlic.
Disgusting.
I put garlic in everything, so I'm just good at... We're going to see what happens to the chunk, the chunk of cabbage it was in here. See, it broke it up. Yeah. So that's if you're, well, she said lazy and don't want to break up the chunks, then I'd say you need to massage it. But if you're lazy, you're not going to want to massage it. So
I'm going to leave it sit for an hour and hope for the best.
And I always do a little bit of massaging just to get it started. And I will tell you again, the reason I use pink Himalayan salt. Number one, it's 30% lower in sodium, so better for your heart. And as far as using it or sea salt is going to contain the contaminants that are in the ocean. Mercury, what else is in the ocean? Just all the stuff that gets dumped. You know, all the plastics. And I don't want that in my food. So pink salt, it's not sea salt. Pink salt is mined from Pakistan. So there is no danger of chemical contamination. It's mined from caves. Trace minerals. Yes, it also, let's see. Oh, it contains potassium, magnesium, and calcium. That is what gives the salt the light pink tint. Thank you, darling. My daughter's Googling for me as I talk. So, we're going to cover this and let it sit for an hour. And then we'll finish up. See, I didn't even make you massage any of it.
Wow. Because I'm lazy.
She's not lazy. She is one of the hardest workers I know. Okay. And she's graduating from college in a couple weeks and has a job, and she's moving to Chicago. We're pretty excited about her getting started on her new life. So she's going to be cooking for herself.
I know.
Again. So,
yeah.
But with the help from my videos. So, I'm excited for her. All right. See, I get started on something and I could talk for 5 minutes and keep massaging this, but we're just going to cover it up and I'll be back. And you're just covering it, not like bread where you're needing to keep the warmth in. It's to keep stuff out. That's it. All right. Later. So what did you do? I know. You didn't even realize an hour had passed. We went and took a walk. So, anyway, it looks a little different, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
It looks more wilted.
Yeah, it looks like it's been massaged for 5 minutes. So, this is the fun part. And now it's easier to crush. But it's... Oh, I can smell the garlic. Smell it?
No. You have a good nose.
I do have a good nose. An exceptional nose, actually. All right. We are going to pack it in the jar. And you can buy a fermented, I think it's a sauerkraut packer is what it's called. I didn't know they existed. Because I use my French rolling pin. It's perfect.
Resourceful.
Yeah, the fewer gadgets I have to have. I just recently, they're not even here yet, purchased the weights that hold the circle out of cabbage that we're going to cut here in a minute so that the sauerkraut doesn't escape from the brine, because that's what causes bacterial growth. So, let me pack this down as tight as we can. And I'm sorry, but I keep hitting the phone because you don't want air pockets. You want the brine to rise. And as you can hear, it's also doing a little bit of massaging. It's crushing the cabbage. So that jar was almost full. And now it's way down.
Oh, okay. I can smell a little bit.
We did wash our hands.
Yes.
But you're not eating this food anyway, but make sure you wash your hands. It's the best way to prevent disease. And way overlooked by most people.
Well, the easiest thing you can do.
So we're going to use that. There's not a lot of brine in the bottom, but we can, yeah, it is one of the easiest things you can do. I don't use hand sanitizer. My mother used to, because they didn't have sanitizer or handy dandy convenient wipes that you can flush or throw out. None of those. Bless you.
Thank you.
My mother would put a wet washcloth in a baggie and maybe a bar of soap, and that would go with us every trip. And she didn't like us to go in strange restrooms, so she would wash our hands, basically. But when we were out at the state park or whatever, I mean, I lived in Columbus, Ohio until I was 9. We used to go to Olentangy State Park a lot. And so there you can see the liquid is right there. We have a little bit more, and I think it's going to be enough. But there have been times, maybe late summer when it's dry, that the cabbage just won't put out any liquid. And so you need to make some brine, which is basically salt and water. So it's a cup of filtered water. You never want to put tap water in sauerkraut. You don't want the chloride, the chemicals. You don't want that. And it probably, because of the chlorine that's in the water, it would probably alter your cabbage ability to ferment. So always use filtered water. Okay. So it's 1 teaspoon per 1 cup of water. So we're going to do a 1/2 cup. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I have a Berkey filter. I love it. It's a pour through. It's a permanent, it's like a large 3-gallon thing. I fill it every couple days. And there's not a lot of disposable, no plastic and no filters that you throw out all the time, like Brita's. So we need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So it's mostly dissolved. There are natural minerals in here, like I mentioned earlier. And obviously minerals don't dissolve. We're going to add that. And then we are going to cut a circle out of one of our outer cabbage leaves. I'm trying to find one that's not split. I think this one will do. All right, let me get the plastic lid. Okay. I think it needs to be bigger. Oh, actually, I can still use that. And we're just going to set this down. We're going to turn it over because that curve. Okay, and I'm going to get my rocks to weight it down. These have been washed. My weights will be here Monday, but these are actually from Joshua Tree, the desert. And I've cleaned them and I only use them for sauerkraut. So that just keeps, that leaf will keep all the sauerkraut from floating up and being exposed to air. And that grows pink bacteria. If you have bacterial issues or questions about it, either look it up or ask me here on the video. And now we let this sit for 21 days. You can go as long as you want. It just continues to ferment. I put mine in the refrigerator after 21 days and start eating it. So it's a wait. Now, in the summer, when it's hot out, you might want to take it to a basement where it's a little cooler, because if it's too hot before it ferments, it will spoil. So I do not open this. Can you grab, there's a rubber here. I got it. This is an airtight jar, and even when they're airtight, the gas that comes out of this cabbage the first week can cause leakage. So you might want to set yours. I'm not going to, because it's not going to come all the way up here. There's plenty of room. But if you're full to the top, it is going to seep out liquid. So we are ready to go, and my daughter will have her beloved sauerkraut in, I think you can eat it in 2 weeks, but I go 21 days. All right, there we go. And it's going to sit right here on the counter. All right, you all have a great day. If you learned anything, enjoyed this video, yeah. I would love it if you would subscribe. Definitely comment. Like for sure. Like it no matter what. Subscribe if you want to. I do great, useful videos. Like I said, this is, these videos, I think the information is good for no matter how good of a cook you are. I designed this for beginning cooks, so I go over everything. But I still teach things that most people don't know. Even though the coring the cabbage didn't work, it does. It does on a different head of cabbage. So I did it that way for years. Anyway, that's it for today. All right. Have a great day. Well, sometimes the best laid plans. Sauerkraut was done a month ago. So it has been over 7 weeks since I started it. But better late than never. And as you can see, I give my dog about a tablespoon with each meal, because it is also really good for them. Builds up their immune system and their gut, all those beautiful probiotics that we need to live a healthy, happy life. But anyway, my daughter, I told you she loves it. She eats about a cup at a time. She's done that twice. And of course I have it on my eggs and some sandwiches and things like that. So anyway, it's half gone, but it's amazing. And you can see how much the color has changed. And it is still crunchy. Let's see. Can you hear that? And if you've ever had commercial sauerkraut, you know it's really limp. At any rate, please make sauerkraut. Please eat sauerkraut. It is so good for your longevity, your immune system, everything, your overall health. Okay. Have a wonderful day.